Patrick Dempsey, how are you, sir?
I'm fantastic. It's good to see you. It's been too long.
Pleasure is mine. So I want to talk a little bit about the Dempsey Center, but
Okay,
I also, there's certain people who during COVID just became more inventive, and I love how you did like a virtual bike ride during this period to raise money for the center and keep it going because it's such a great cause. Tell me a little bit about that.
Zwift, which is a great supportive cycling app that you can use,
Right.
and you can ride with other people around the world. It's a tough workout too because you don't get a chance to roll at all. You got to keep riding, and it came up. COVID. And we're working with people who are incredibly vulnerable and at high risk, and we didn't want them to feel isolated. We've always been intending to move into a virtual platform anyway. We service Maine, and we're all part of the community. They have a hard time getting into the hospitals, having a hard time getting there because of either the weather or the price of fuel, things like that.
Right.
So this really accelerated that transition. So we have what is called now the Dempsey Connects.
Right.
So I encourage people from around the world to touch base with us if they need some help. And we can give them some direction. Some things legally we're not allowed to do, but we are there for people. Our goal is to connect with other like-minded centers around the world.
That's fantastic. I mean, tell me, how you initiated this center and why you felt it was so important to serve this community, this rural community, where cancer probably is, a mysterious disease for them, and they feel like in some ways underserved as a community.
Right. You have the traditional approach to medicine, but then you also need the personal touch. So we're very high touch. We don't treat the disease; we treat the person holistically. We do acupuncture, Reiki, nutrition. We have a kids program, support groups, caregivers. Anybody who comes in, we try to customize a program based on a menu of options for them. And this all came out of my own experience with my family, how we've been impacted by cancer, which was my mother, who had ovarian cancer and passed away in 2014.
Right.
And, around the time when we were about 15 years into this, Graves was on the rise, and people were like, what do you stand for? What do you do? What's your cause? And I'd never been asked that before. And I was a spokesman for the Amgen Tour de California, which is a pro cycling event.
Right.
And Amgen is a biotech company, and they had a division where it was called Breakaway from Cancer with different disciplines, sort of lobbyists in Washington for patients, nutrition prevention, and then there was a wellness component. And to me, that's when the light bulb went off. I was like, this is exactly what my mom needs.
Right.
I called my sister who works at the hospital. Is there anything like this in the community? No, let's set something up. And that's how it began.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah. It's the most rewarding work.
So cool.
I love it. We were doing some fundraising before I got here for this event, and it's just so many people have been impacted by cancer and the family members, and you see the need and people rise to the challenge.
Incredible. You live in what I consider to be like an architectural masterpiece, right? You live in this Frank Gehry.
Well, there's a real tragedy behind the Frank Gehry house.
Yes.
During the fires a few years ago, the whole thing was burnt down.
Oh my God, right.
Right, so it was a remarkable piece that I was a caretaker for many years. So I love architecture.
Right.
But yeah, I was this is what we're dealing with global warming, and the impact of being on the edge in certain areas in California.
Yeah, it seems like every year you hear more about like recurring fires that are happening, and the amount of devastation that happens to it. Even from a cultural perspective, to think of that house being something that's existed for so long.
Yeah, I mean, Frank Gehry is an artist. He always wanted to be an artist, and Ron Davis is an artist who he built the home for, and it was a remarkable structure, really was. And I love architecture. I think it's an incredible thing. I've always been attracted to it, and to have been sort of a caretaker for a period of time was a remarkable experience.
So that's what I love was when you talk about that house now with hopefully fond memories in the past.
Yes.
You use the word caretaker, and I think that's something very beautiful, that you see yourself as being a person that is taking care of one object and hopefully being able to pass it to someone else in the future. Do you see your watches that way?
Absolutely. Right. I have another house too that's an old house that I've been restoring, and you realize you have a limited amount of time with this, and you want to be able to preserve it and bring it to the next person so they can enjoy it. And I find the same thing with my watches. Now my boys are getting to the age where they want something to wear when they go out.
Like 16, 17?
They're 15 right now, but they're going out, they're with their friends, and they can actually tell time, where a lot of kids can't, because they look at their iPhone or their watches and they don't understand it. So it's been really nice. And I remember moments with my father giving me his watch, and they come in, they look at the collection. I'm very fortunate to have a large number now. And they come in and they go, well, what about this one? I'm like, okay, here's what this was about. You can be very careful. And then if I have any duplicates, if someone really admires me, the best thing to do is be able to just give it to someone.
Wow.
So, and that's what I think the important thing of being a TAG Heuer ambassador
Yes.
is to be able to share that.
Right.
So if there's a couple things that, I have some that are like really emotional to me,
Right.
and then some that aren't. And if I see someone that really loves it, who's in a position maybe not to be able to get one, then it's a gift to them.
Dude, that's amazing. That's
Part
truly
of it, and I
extraordinary.
think that's the great thing about being an ambassador.
I love that. And I love the fact that you've also been able to transmit that passion to the next generation as well. I think you've got twin sons, you're mentioning 15 years old.
And my
Has your
daughter-
daughter's graduated from college yet?
Not yet, she's
Right.
halfway through.
Right. And are they, I mean, clearly the sons are, is she also passionate about the timekeepers? Or?
She's really into cooking. She's an artist on that side. So
Right.
she'll be studying at Cordon Bleu in the summer.
Wow.
So I hope she goes into that world.
Right.
I don't like when she's at university because then we have to cook and she's much better than all of us.
So was she actually like cooking for the family when you guys
Oh
did
yeah,
that?
she'll spend the whole day preparing. You
Right.
know, it's a big ritual for her.
Yes.
And then it allows us to sit down for a moment where we're not fighting like normal families trying to get the schedule done and all of that, who's doing this. So it's a nice moment.
Amazing. I noticed during COVID when you were being interviewed by Kimmel, when you were the lazy boy.
Yeah, right.
You were wearing, I believe, the Monaco historique.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
The red and white one with the flag of Monaco.
Right.
Like, what does this race and this place mean to you?
Well, that watch in particular meant a lot to me. I just finished Grey's Anatomy and I was going to Spa to race for the very first time.
Wow.
And that you know, so anytime I look at that, it's loaded with a great deal of emotion.
Right.
And of course, it's the original watch.
Yes.
So that's quite something. So I was thinking about that this morning, actually. I looked down at this watch, and this is the new one, and it's the titanium. It's really lightweight.
Right.
It's beautiful. And I see so many things when I look down, and I see what time it is.
Yeah.
All these memories flash through your head. All the experiences that I have here, all the people
Right.
like yourself and the events we've done around the world, and it's a beautiful thing. It's like a touchstone of memory.
It's cool. It becomes like a repository of all of your experiences.
Exactly.
You know? And then you've had some pretty remarkable ones here and with TAG Heuer as
Yeah,
well.
I've been very fortunate. You know, you hear the start of the race, and there's something quite soothing for me because when you're racing, and when I was racing, there was something in your cells that you just settle down and you're ready to get to work. It's really
Absolutely.
fun.
This watch is particularly cool because it's inspired by a kind of mysterious watch that happened in the 70s, and it has this really cool nickname called the Dark Lord. Right? Like,
Yeah, right.
Does that appealing to you?
Yeah, it
Right,
really
right.
is. It is. But you know, it's not as negative as that
Right.
sounds. You know,
Yes.
it's ominous, but I like how stealthy it is. You know, and it's really quite quiet, and they've done a beautiful job with the little detail work.
Do you think with the name that it is, it could have been something worn by your character in Devils?
It would have been fun. I had the gold Heuer commemorative
I remember.
in season 2 of Devils this
Yes.
year that's coming out, so that's fun. So yeah, I try to, in a lot of watches that I wear in shows, I keep too, and I have them organized that way.
Talk to me a little bit about that show because it's a thrilling.
Devils is a financial
Yeah.
thriller.
Right.
It's a whodunit set in the world of high finance.
Right. And is that world compelling to you? I know you shot that in Rome as well.
Shot it in Rome.
Right.
I love working on it.
Yes.
Alessandro Borgia is fantastic to work with. We have an international cast.
Right.
You know, I love how we use the archival footage of actual events, news events,
Right.
and how that is affecting the narrative in our story
Yes.
of what's going on behind the scenes. So it is kind of like the Dark Lord of finance. And
Right.
there's this fictitious world of the 13th floor, which is all the powerful people in America that want to keep the dollar strong. Season 1 was fantastic. Season 2 has been released in Rome, in London, and I think around the world coming up. I think here in France it's going to be in June. So season 2 we deal with Bitcoin,
Oh wow.
AI,
Right.
COVID, and all of that, and then who is controlling AI is going to be controlling the world, and that's what we're seeing now.
Incredible.
Disinformation and all of that. So it's very current, very exciting, and a great international cast.
Fantastic, man. I started binge watching it last night, and I can't wait to see season 2 as well.
Good. Season 2 is coming up, so you get ready for
Nice.
it. You'll love it.
Nice. I want to ask you a little bit about, because you mentioned, everyone knows that you're a very successful race driver. You're a Porsche guy as
Yes.
well. TAG now has an official association with Porsche.
Which makes my life so much easier, and I'm so happy
Right.
because everybody's so passionate.
Yes.
Both brands are iconic. You know, the other thing I was thinking about, because the Monaco watch is so iconic,
Right.
It was so revolutionary at the time. But now you're starting to see, like the 911, they just keep refining it, making it better. And when
Yes.
you look at it, it's iconic.
Right.
So these two iconic brands coming together,
Yes.
it's very powerful.
Patrick, I think you said it perfectly, sir. Thank
Oh
you
man,
so much.
it's so great to see you. What a
Pleasure's mine.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.